WILDsides. Today we're going to be learning how to fish in the surf, so let's get right to it. Welcome to my windproof shelter that I've built here on the beach. Now it is a bit noisy, but it's better than being in these hurricane winds. So first we're going to look at the rod. One thing about fishing in the surf is that you want to get it out there. So the longer the rod that you're using, the farther you're going to be able to just whip it out there. So if you've got a pole that is made for surf fishing that's really, really long, like 8-9 feet, you can just launch it out there. Now this isn't a very long rod, so I'm going to have to compensate with walking out into the water pretty far, which I will demonstrate. The next thing we need to concern ourselves with is the line. Now you're going to be fishing in the ocean, so there's a number of things that can bite your line, so you're going to want to have it a bit tough, a bit heavy line. I believe what I've got here is 15-pound monofilament. One thing about fishing in the surf is that it has a lot of current, so you're gonna need some heavy weights. Got a 1 and 2 ounce weight right here, and these are called pyramid sinkers. The good thing about pyramid sinkers is that they sink into the sand with the tip of the pyramid. And they've also got teardrop shaped sinkers, which will help you to launch it out there, just like these, except they'll kind of roll around with it. So I want it to be stable, so I'm going to go ahead and use a pyramid sinker. So next is the hook. The hook size and shape is going to differ depending on what you're fishing for. This is about the size of fish that I usually catch. It's something that can bite onto this. I'm going to be fishing with dead bait. I've got dead squid, so I'm going to be using a hook. Now if you're using a lure, you're obviously not going to want as big of a weight on there. You're going to want a smaller weight, and you're going to have to get real far out there and cast and reel. But this is the way that I usually do it, so this is the way that I'm showing you. Now you can see I've left about a 10-inch stretch of line below the hook, and that is because I want to attach my weight. You can buy certain rigs for fishing in the surf that'll have little swivel snaps that you can attach hooks to, and then one weight at the bottom. They got orange beads on them. But if you're just fishing with tackle that you've got with you, then this is what I usually do. Here I've got a container of some warm squid. Now the reason it is warm is because I actually buried it in the sand last night because I didn't want it in the cooler with my food, so that has made it quite rancid. When you're camping, never leave your squid or shrimp in your car overnight. We did that once and our eyeballs about fell out when we got it in the morning. So I always bury it in the sand so that I don't have to deal with a stinky car. One good thing about it being rancid now is that the catfish can smell it for miles. So those little guys out there with their whiskers and looking around for food will be able to sense it and follow it. One thing that's great about squid is that it's super rubbery and tough, so even if you whip the rod out there real hard, it's not going to fly off it's not very likely, from my experience. Now since the squid is so leathery, it is very pliable, and what I do usually when I take the little piece of squid, I'll fold it in half, put it once through the hook, slide it up onto the barbs, then flip it around and put it through again the same piece of squid, and that'll hold it on there quite nicely. When it comes to casting, what I usually like to do is go up pretty far to the first or second sandbar. You can usually see a brown streak in the water, and those are the sandbars. Now if it gets deep, it's usually going to get shallow again because you will be hitting a sandbar. Just stay safe, you know, don't want to get caught in that rip current or anything. But once I get out as far as I desire, I will do an overhead cast, making sure to keep the reel out of the water, because if you get salt water in your reel, it is bad news for you. Overhead cast it as far out as possible, then I will leave the bail of the reel open and walk backwards to a desirable spot, usually on shore, so that the line will keep going out rather than dragging it back in. Once I get to shore, I will lock the bail and stick it in the sand so I can watch the tip of the rod and keep an eye out for bites. There's going to be the movement of the water going in and out, and you're going to see the tip of the rod moving. Now what you're watching for is rapid, quick movements of the tip of the rod. That's usually a bite. And you can feel the line. You can definitely tell the difference when you're feeling the line between a bite or just the current pulling it out and pulling it back in. Just a word of caution. Watch out for swimmers. These guys are out here to enjoy their day, and the last thing you want is to cast over them and catch a human. So keep in mind that your bait is going to be drifting, so try and get as far away from people in the water as possible. this area. called a whiting. Now these guys live along the sandbars typically, so you will find them in the surf. And I was having trouble because something kept taking my bait. And all I did was go one sandbar farther out, and that did the trick. I guess I just went up a level of size of fish, because the thing with the surf is that the little guys will stay in close so that the big guys can't come in and eat them. And so if you're having trouble, just go out a little bit farther, you'll get bigger fish. Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed learning how to fish in the surf. My name's Alec, stay wild, and we'll see you next time.